Hi, welcome back. I am running you through my most used products of 2020. Many of these are products you have seen previously or in previous years. Some of these are new discoveries from the year. I want to make this a pretty speedy video. I don't like to take up a lot of your time. So forgive me if I don't elaborate on every single product, but I just want you to get a general vibe for the products that were particularly precious to me this year. So let's knock out, I think this is probably the biggest category, which is complexion. Complexion is near and dear to me. It is what gets me excited in the makeup world. I just love a good complexion product. So I am going to knock out two Old Faithfuls here. These remain in, I think, my most used category each year, and I just feel like most of you get it by now. So Bare Minerals Bare Pro and also Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder, two very different foundations. Bare Pro will always remain in my top category. It is one of the most versatile foundations in my opinion. You can go from sheer coverage to full coverage with it. I will say it does run a little bit more on the matte side. It's not a flat matte, but I oftentimes find that I don't even have to set my skin. And the less or the least amount of steps that I can take as I'm getting older, the better. But what can I say? It is literally the longest wearing foundation formula in my collection, hands down. I can wear this in the summertime, the wintertime. It's never going to budge no matter what the circumstances or the weather is. So that's what I really appreciate about it. Also has a very skin-like finish for a more matte foundation. I don't even know how to categorize this finish. It's not, I hate to say matte because when I say matte, I think of something like my next foundation, which is the NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation. So just know it's like a very natural flat finish. I don't know. I'm not justifying it, but if you know, you know. So Charlotte Tilbury's Light Wonder, this is a very dewy, youthful complexion product, a good light medium coverage. I always recommend this for people who have mature skin because it just gives off this youthful appearance, as the name says. And I hadn't worn it for a while, and I wore it and did a look on Instagram the other day, and I got a ton of questions asking what foundation I was wearing, and it was this one. So yeah, these two always on rotation for me, just depends on my mood. So let's talk about some new discoveries this year. As I mentioned, NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation. This one was a doozy. I was not expecting to like this because the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, that concealer I can only get away with in the summertime when my skin's more hydrated, when I feel like I just have more hydration in my skin. I have been wearing this throughout the short fall, brief winter period we're having right now, and I just think it's flawless. I do think that it will complement those of you who have normal combination oily skin. If you're extremely dry, flaky, probably not the route you want to take. But it's very, I like it for the same reasons I like Bare Pro. You can go from a really nice light, fresh coverage to a pretty intense full coverage, but it's one of the most skin-like matte foundations that I've ever tried. And yes, this does have like a true matte finish to it, in my opinion. It just, NARS never fails on complexion. I always love their complexion products. Even if they aren't suited for my skin, somehow I will still either like the way they look on other people or find a way to make them work. So this one was a really great option for me this year. Shiseido Synchro Skin. I used this quite a bit in the late summer months. I was just feeling a bit more coverage, and this was something that was on my radar. I tried it, and again, really nice coverage, but with a soft skin-like finish to it. I will say that I think this one is going to be suited for those of you who do like a traditional daily makeup look. Like if you're into wearing medium full coverage as your daily wear, this is something that you'll like. But I think it's more versatile for different types of skin than the foundations I've mentioned previously, because I think it's super universal. I think you could have oily, combo, dry, and this would probably suit most skin types. So again, medium full coverage, really nice, soft, natural finish to it. Just overall, I was really impressed with this formula. Let's talk about a couple of sheer gals that I have here. The NYX Bear With Me Skin Tint and the Kosas Tinted Face Oil. These were, I discovered this not too long ago in the later part of the year, but the NYX Bear With Me, I've been using this for several months now. I love this. It's called a tinted skin veil, and I think that's a perfect example of what it is. It gives your skin just a hint of coverage, a little bit more than what you would expect from like a Glossier skin tint. I know those have like the same, they sound similar, but they're very different. This definitely gives you a little bit more coverage. I think it's more suited for those of you who have normal to combo skin. If you are on the drier side, I have received a lot of feedback from those of you who are in love with it. Same thing for me. Like if I find that my skin's feeling a little bit more on the dry side, I would probably reach for my Neutrogena Hydro Boost Skin Tint. I compare the two often. But yeah, if you're a no makeup person and you want something that just gives like the perfect amount of light coverage, this is a great option. The Kosas Tinted Face Oil, this one's interesting for me because I'll just say straight off the bat, I don't find it to be the longest wearing, but I love the application process of this product. It's just so easy to shake up, put on your fingers, throw on, and it actually provides decent coverage. I was not expecting that with this product. I was expecting it to be literally invisible on the skin, sheer to no coverage. Quite the opposite. This can be built up to, I personally think, a solid medium coverage, maybe on the lighter end, but it is very dewy. So if you're not a dew person, you're probably not going to get down with this. It is very liquidy, like you got to be careful when you drop it out, but I do find that it applies best with my hands. And so it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's a fun product to apply. I think it looks smooth on the skin. I definitely prefer it with my lighter coverage natural makeup days as opposed to like a full coverage look that I'm wearing right now. But I was very impressed with this, especially in the months that I was really struggling with my dermatitis. This was kind of like a savior for me. So I was pretty surprised when I went to reach for my most used concealer formulas because I didn't realize that I had so many. I feel like this is normally my 1 to 2 product category. I'm not a big concealer person, but there were so many formulas that I was just super impressed with this year. Starting with the Kosas concealer. This is, I know it has a full name down below. It's not on the bottle, but it's just the concealer they came out with this year with the yellow cap. Love this. It is very moussey in texture. It provides great coverage. There were many times when I just used this as a foundation and it just looks so soft and pleasing on the skin. Just everything that I really like in a concealer. I think that it paired nicely with the skin tint and just added that extra bit of coverage. It is, in my opinion, a medium to fuller coverage concealer. So yeah, love this. Wasn't super creasy at all on me. And overall, I just remember using this like it was permanently on my desk, especially in the summer months. So Kosas did a good job. This is one that I discovered this year based on a sample, and I still have the sample. I was going to buy the full size during the Sephora sale, and I was like, yo, you have so many concealers, and this sample is still going strong. So I'm literally going to show you the sample but I've used it all freaking year. And this just goes to show how little product you need with this. But it's the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. You can see I have this little miniature tube here, and it's lasted me the entire year. I kind of flip-flop back and forth with Dior. Sometimes I'm all about the products, sometimes I'm not. The Dior Face and Body, that's something that I really tried and wanted to love. I wanted to love it more than I did, let's just say that. I think it's a good product, but it never really made it up on the top list for me. This concealer is so freaking good. It's so thin and flexible, if that's even a thing. Like, it just feels so flexible when I apply it, almost like it just blends in with my skin immediately and somehow camouflages everything in the most invisible way. I think it's a beautiful formula. I don't know what the difference in this is compared to my other concealer formulas, but I always notice a difference in the way my under eyes look, especially when I use this. It's just lovely. It's thin, it's hydrating, it gives good coverage, and it's not creasy in the slightest. So really loved this. Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away Concealer. This is funny because when I first bought this, I didn't like it. I was not a fan. I thought it looked cakey, crepey, just wasn't a fan overall. What I came to find is that, number one, I was using a little bit too much product, and number two, I prefer this concealer on top of a very lightweight base. So let's say something like the NYX Bear With Me Skin Tint. I find that this concealer pairs well with something that just has a lighter, fresher base to it, because it is a pretty thick consistency, but once you get it blended out, it kind of just transforms into this really nice, melty, concealed texture. I remember that this was another concealer that I found myself wearing as more of a foundation. I highly dislike the Magic Away foundation, but the concealer, I don't know. I just grew to love this. I think that, again, it has that flexible texture to it, to where it just smooths and instantly looks super perfected. If you're not into thicker concealers that kind of have to be warmed up, this probably isn't going to be up your alley. But once you get the hang of it, it looks lovely. It looks fresh. It looks natural. But I do not like it on top of something that's already medium to full coverage. I just think it's too much, and it just kind of cakeifies itself. Last but not least, we have Old Faithful here, Bare Minerals Bare Pro. I mean, again, I find myself using this as a foundation. I guess we see a common theme in concealers. If I can double up and wear them as just a foundation, then they're automatically in for me. This one is definitely more on the satin to matte side. Great full coverage. I love it for spot concealing. I have been using it since it came out. And again, it's one of those that I don't enjoy on top of, like, oftentimes I won't even wear it with the Bare Pro foundation. If I'm wearing Bare Pro foundation, most of the time I don't wear concealer with it. So a lot of the times I'll find myself just using the Bare Pro concealer as like a really nice fresh base, like quick, no makeup look. If I got some redness I need to conceal, pop this out. Very easy to apply, and I don't have to set it because it's a nice satin to matte finish again. So yeah, if you've never been a fan of stick concealers, I don't have a ton in my collection that I love, but I have always loved this one. All right, more complexion products coming at you. I just have to always mention the Charlotte Tilbury wands. These are just iconic status for me. I just feel so, it's just one of those products that you always feel good using because you know it's going to just turn out looking bomb, like regardless of if you've messed up the rest of your face, you know that these are going to look good. So I have the Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand, and then also the Hollywood Contour and Highlight Wands. The Glowgasm ones are kind of like hybrids between blushes and highlighters depending on your skin tone. I have Pinkgasm and Peachgasm. Peachgasm I'm wearing on my cheeks today. It definitely is more of a blush on me, whereas the peach one oftentimes just comes off as a highlighter, especially if I have more of a tan. But these look phenomenal. Like, they just look so healthy and radiant. And I know they get a lot of crap because you don't get a ton of product and they are pretty pricey. But to me, just the results are always worth it. Same thing goes for the contour wand and highlight wand. The highlighter is like a true just champagne highlight tone. This is like blinding. You have to be very careful with it, but it is always stunning on the cheeks. The Hollywood Contour Wand, I use the fair to medium shade. I just think it's always the perfect shade for my skin tone, no matter if I have a tan or if I'm super fair. It definitely does run on the cooler side, but it's just a dream to apply. Like, if you're new to liquid or cream bronzers, this is something that just blends in so easily and looks effortless. And I just love the color. That's really what always keeps me coming back. I just find it to be the perfect tone for my face. A few more guys to talk about here. So I often talk about NARS Multiples. I've been using these for years. I'm talking since I was probably like 19. I have had at least one multiple in my collection. I just think that they are lovely, very travel friendly, easy to apply. But this year I also discovered the e.l.f. Monochromatic Sticks. Not 100% identical in formula to the NARS ones. Sometimes I get feedback from you all saying you think that the e.l.f. ones have like chunky glitter in them. I haven't experienced that with the ones that I own. I'm wondering if like there's different formulas out there, but I have a few and I don't ever get like chunks of glitter on my skin. But when you feel them, you'll notice that they feel almost identical. I'd say the difference is with the NARS ones, you do get a little bit more of a glowy payoff, whereas the e.l.f. ones are more of like a traditional kind of cream blush with a slight hint of shine to them. So yeah, I use these a lot in my videos this year, and I was very pleased with them. Obviously, my Daniel Sandler watercolors, I kind of hushed about these for a while because I was just like a broken record. And then of course I got comments saying, do you still use Daniel Sandler? Yes, like these are it for me. I would have never made a video entitled the best blushes I've ever tried if I didn't believe that. So yeah, these are always tops for me. Nothing like them on the market. You can literally only find a finish like this in the Daniel Sandler watercolors. They are youthful. They instantly make you look youthful. Like, that's a given. Once you get the hang of applying them, they're just like this soft, glowy dream on the face. So I always have a coupon code with Look Fantastic and Skin Store, which I'll link the active one down below. I'm not sure what the current one is right now, but again, it'll be down below for extra discounts on these. So yeah, I'll also leave my favorite shades down below. Off the top of my head, Angel is one that I use a lot. I also love the shade Caress, and then the shade Golden Glow, which is kind of like a hybrid between a bronzer and a blush. Selena Gomez really wowed me with her matte blush formula this year. I didn't try the dewy one because generally I just gravitate towards more of like the moussey, flat textured cream or liquid blushes if it's not Daniel Sandler. Like, they're the only kind of wet consistency cream or liquid blush that I want to get down with. So yeah, I purchased the Rare Beauty matte blush formula, cream blush formula. Love it. So easy to apply. I'm actually wearing a little bit mixed with the Pinkgasm today, and the shade I have is called Bliss. I think, again, another super easy formula if you're not the best with applying cream blushes, because I don't find that it messes with my base, with what I have underneath. So this was an impressive formula this year. And then finally, going back to the contour shade that I love from Charlotte Tilbury, I found a similar one in the Uoma Beauty Double Take Sculpt and Strobe Stick. And I have mine in the lightest shade. I think it's just called Fair. but it's more of a stick. It's an actual stick contour bronzer. So if you're not really into like the liquid formula that the Charlotte Tilbury one is, this one's phenomenal. Again, very similar tone. It's that lovely, cool tone with just a hint of warmth, not enough to make you look orange. And I'm wearing it today. I just find that it's super natural. I don't know. I love it. I have one powder to talk about this year, and it's the RMS Tinted UnPowder powder. This powder though has stuck with me throughout the entire year. I absolutely love it. It's one of the most blurring powders I've ever tried. And I use the tinted version. I use shade 01. It's starting to get a little dark on me for the winter time, so I'm interested to see if the translucent would be a better fit. But if you want something that is blurring, if you want something that you can set your makeup with fully, like if you want a super flat matte look, you can get that with this. But if you're someone that just likes to do kind of like a T-zone set and get a nice finish, this is also something that you can use. It's very versatile in the way that you can use it. But the reason I love it so much is because it is so soft and blurring and non-powder looking on the skin. So I think it definitely lives up to its name, Tinted UnPowder. And this has literally been like on my desk all flippin' year. Let me just say, 2020 was the year I said F my eyebrows. Like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not experimenting with pencils anymore. I'm not brushing individual strokes in my freaking brow hairs. I don't have time for it. So the product that I have fallen in love with this year is the e.l.f. Wow Brow. And it replaced my, can't even think of the name now, my Glossier Boy Brow, which I had used prior to for years. This is just such a cheaper alternative, and I find that it fills the brows in better than the Glossier one does. I mean, you literally can't beat this product. It's like $5. I mean, and a lot of people were saying like, hey, this one doesn't really last as long as the Glossier one. I've had this mofo for like probably at least 6 months at this point, and it's still going strong, and I use it every single day. So I haven't had a problem with longevity. Yeah, fills in your eyebrows. It is absolutely no fuss. I love the color. I think I have the shade Neutral Brown. It's not, let's see, Neutral Brown. Yeah. Love the shade. Fits my brows perfectly. So easy to use. I don't know. I just can't rave about how easy this product is and how much use I truly get out of it. Okay, so I bet you thought I was going to start out my eyeshadow category with the Laura Mercier Caviar sticks. I mean, yes, like obviously those were my most used eyeshadows of 2020, but I think if you're familiar with my channel, you're watching right now, you know that. That's like a given. Like, they're gonna be linked down below. My favorites are gonna be linked. It's like another broken record thing. Laura Mercier Caviar sticks and Daniel Sandler watercolors. It's just, I'm a broken record at this point. So I actually have an eyeshadow palette to talk about. And I talked about this previously because this is something that's been out for a really long time with MAC. And I'm just now purchasing it because I really fell off the powder eyeshadow game for a while. But it's the Semi-Sweet x9 palette. And I said in one of the videos that I use this in that we need to normalize these mini palettes. Like, I'm hoping that in 2021, the mini palette's going to make a comeback, because truly the beauty industry is so oversaturated right now that we don't have time, or I don't have time for the giant 39 pan big disc eyeshadows. Like, I'm not using that many eyeshadows, and this is my freaking job. So I can't imagine for someone who doesn't wear makeup daily how that's going. So I am such a fan of these little mini palettes, and the Semi-Sweet x9 palette is a classic staple palette. These are the shades that you want to create an everyday classic look. So I actually use these 3 shades right here for my eyebrows sometimes. Like if I need to just fill in a few sparse areas, These 3 shades, they have me covered. Everyone needs a classic black. Personally, I would say my most used like range in this palette are these first 2 kind of lines here. And they're just, you can create such classic looks. You can use these shades as liners. You can do a really soft natural look. You can pair them with shimmer tones like I've done today. I have a shimmery shade on top of these. They are just essential classics. Love this palette. I think it's worth it. And I want to see more little palette gems like this. So the sparkles I have on my eyes are, in my opinion, these are the end all be all of glitter pigments, and it's the Bodyography glitter pigments. They're stunning. They are, I apply them with my finger. They're easiest applied with your finger. I think you get the best payoff that way. They are just stunning and gorgeous. I love them. I love the shades. My 2 most used shades are Sparkler, which is what I'm wearing on my eyes today, and then also Stratus. If you have really fair skin, like if you're fair, cool tone with like blonde hair, Stratus is this lovely kind of gorgeous hybrid between a champagne and a pink. And then they also have several deeper shades for deeper skin tones. So these are just the 2 that obviously fit my skin tone the best, so I use them the most. But if you like just that lovely pop of glitter with no effort, invest in one for sure. All right, so we are narrowing this down. You will find in these videos that I don't always cover every single category because I just don't feel like there was something within the category that I used a lot this year or that met up to my expectations formula wise. But I do have a few lip liners to talk about, and these are Old Faithfuls. Like I think I discovered one of these this year. I didn't really discover it. It's been around for a long time. I just really found myself enjoying the formula, and that's the Revlon Color Stay lip liners. I use the shade Natural most. A second color shade that I use is just the nude one. It's a nice deep, rich kind of tawny brown, but Natural was kind of like an identical dupe for the other eyeliner or lip liner formula that I was going to mention, which is just the NYX Slim Lip Pencil lip liners, which I've been talking about for years. So Natural is like a perfect dupe for the shade Beige in the NYX Lip Pencil. I've talked about this for years. It is definitely going to be for those of you who lean in the fair to light skin tone category. If you're deeper or darker than the other options I'm going to talk about are a little bit better, or definitely the nude shade that I already mentioned from Revlon. But these are just like, they match my lip color. So I can easily make my lips look a lot fuller with these 2 shades because they're like invisible on my lips. It doesn't look like I'm wearing a lip liner. So these 2 shades, love them. I really like the Revlon one because it's a twist up. I just find it to be a little bit more convenient. Don't have to sharpen it like I do the NYX one. But a lot of you tell me that Beige is sold out at Ulta every time you go to look. So if you can't find Beige, check another drugstore for Natural and Revlon. And then, of course, my beloved Charlotte Tilbury lip pencils. I mean, like if I just had to pick one to use for the rest of my life, it would be the Charlotte Tilbury ones. And what's funny is most of the time I can't explain it because I do realize they can very easily be duped. But it's just something about her colors. Like I love her lip liner colors. Pillow Talk and also Iconic Nude. Those are just, I don't know. I can't explain it. I just want to reach for those constantly. They are a drier lip liner formula, so they do last really well on my lips at least. But yeah, y'all know I've been loving these and I can't explain it, but I just do. Let's knock out this elephant in the room, which is my lip color. It's like the easiest red to apply. My biggest thing with red lipsticks is that they're so freaking hard to apply and then maintain. This is one that's so low maintenance and I love the color and I think it's so easy to apply, and it's by Glossier. It's just their Gen Z, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Gen Z. Generation G lipsticks. These are and they're not really controversial, but a lot of people don't like the Generation G lipsticks because they are very sheer and they are definitely a flat matte, almost like a stain finish, but it works so well in this red tone. I do own a couple other shades in the Generation Gs and I don't wear them as often, but I just I never need, well, I need a mirror to apply this, but I don't need a lip pencil and it just looks flawless. Like when I put it on, I don't know, it just looks nice and flawless and not overdone. If I use like a red lip pencil with a full-on red lipstick, oftentimes my lips just, it's too much. This is lovely. It's natural. You could definitely sheer it out if you wanted more of just that soft, like popsicle type look. But yeah, I so enjoyed wearing this shade this year. I used it in a lot of campaigns when I worked with brands and I wanted like a moody vibe with like a red lip. This is normally what I was wearing. Two gloss formulas to mention. Both are drugstore. First is Milani Keep It Full. Best plumping lip gloss that I've found at the drugstore. Not only that, these really do make your lips look fuller. Like they make your lips look juicy, full. They have a slight tingle to them, but it's not overwhelming. And I just think it's a bomb lip gloss formula. If you like ultra glossy, full looking lips, you will really love the Milani Keep It Full. I have the shades Tropical Shine and Champagne. Champagne's like classic nude. Tropical Shine is a nice peach tone. And then later on towards, I want to say these came out right before October. Maybelline came out with these lifter glosses, which are very similar in my opinion to the Fenty Gloss Bombs. Like the shades are similar, the finish is similar. The applicator, it's like that big chunky kind of doe foot applicator. But I love these. If you like the plump without the tingle, I think these would be a good option because they give a similar finish to the Milani ones, but they don't have the like peppermint tingle to them at all. Somehow they just give the appearance of fuller lips. So yeah, really big fan of these this year. Nice addition to, I wanted to expand on my drugstore lip collection and these were definitely a lovely addition. Okay, 5 hours later, we are finally done. I tried to condense this as quickly as possible, but if I forgot something, feel free to let me know. Most people do. I generally end up forgetting at least a couple of products that were like staples. But again, some things I just feel like I mentioned so much that it's just, you have to dial it back at some point. You know what I mean? So yeah, these are things that I just found myself using a lot this year. Let me know what some of your most used products were as well. I'm going to link the products that I do have discount codes with. I definitely know the Daniel Sandlers. I always have a code with them, which is top notch because I know a lot of you all love them as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions for me, leave them down below and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.